and this is my dog Essie. She's almost 4 months now, and she's a little bit of a stinker. I promised you I would introduce you to her, so that's my introduction to the big grand finale of the Ohsawa diet, so that's really exciting. Today is day number 10, so I'm pretty much done. Of course, I have to get through the end of the day, and I'm carrying it through until tomorrow, so I think officially I could eat tonight, because that would be officially 10 full days, but I'm going to, just to be sure, carry it through until the next day. So I've made it, and there's so many different directions I could take this video, and I'm going to try to just say a few main points and stick to that. But overall, my experience was very positive. Again, if this is something you're considering, please reach out to me or your health practitioner before doing this, because everyone's experience will be different, and that is something that I really work hard to convey in the work that I do, is that everyone's experience is unique and different, and what everyone needs is very unique and different. So you really have to use some discernment when deciding what's best for you. So for me, I felt like my body was ready for it, and with the way I've responded during these 10 days, it's a clear sign to me that I was ready for it and that I needed it, and it was perfect timing, because it was easy. Day one, I was a little tired, and just wrapping my mind around the concept of doing this for 10 days was a little rattling, but outside of that, I had a little bit of an energy drop at the end of day 4 and 5 and 6, but other than that, I felt completely normal. I've had zero cravings, zero, the entire time, zero, and that blows my mind. I'm not someone that gets a lot of cravings that much anyway. I've worked over the years to dissolve those, but it was really surprising to me. No fruits, no sugars, especially living in Thailand. I thought I'd want something like a fruit smoothie, it's like a mango or something, a coconut, and the idea was like, yeah, it'd be nice to have a coconut, but I didn't have a craving for it, so that was really interesting. And then I just didn't really have that big of an appetite, so I ate, maybe 3 to 5 meals a day, and that was it, of just rice, and I didn't even eat that much rice at each sitting, so, and I didn't feel like I needed any more or anything else. I didn't feel like I was missing anything, and that's the other issues that usually my body will tell me if I'm missing something or need something, and all these 10 days I never felt like I was missing anything, so that was really fascinating, and it's basically like another way of fasting is the way I look at it. So the way my composition is, physically and energetically, so there's a lot we could go into with this, and we will in the future with future programs and videos and blogs and things like that, is I'm a very Vata person, which is air, and even energetically, the way I'm made up astrologically and things like that is mostly air and water. So for me, fasting isn't usually the best, especially the longer term fast. So this is an alternative, and it's more of a grounding way to fast, is the way I see it, and it has a lot of other benefits as well, and it's naturally cleansing, and 10 days it's supposed to also cleanse the blood, and it also does wonders with the digestive system, and so it's kind of cleansing that out, if you will, and I've added in a few things. So I've added in some things to kind of help with parasites, and then also just cleansing the system and binding to toxins and taking it out of the system. So I've added in a little bit of that that's not going to skew the results of the brown rice at all, just to kind of help with the purging and cleansing process, because I feel like that's what my body is really ready for, is the release. And especially with all that's been going on energetically in the universe the past several months and really several years, well and beyond, but it's been very heavy recently, and so I feel like also, and I complemented this process with some energetic treatments and other forms of release to kind of enhance, so if my body's already releasing, that it can maybe release even more. And so that was a little experiment I did with myself as well, and I can go into that later as well. So overall, that, I think, tuning the body energetically is one of the main benefits of this. Again, it depends on where you are in your journey. For someone else, it may be a physical benefit. For me, I wanted it to be more energetic, and it was to the point where you also become more sensitive energetically, And so I could feel energies more strongly than I normally do in yoga and other parts of my daily life as well. So that's pretty cool. And then also mentally, that was the other big takeaway from this for me. Is another reason I did this was to really focus my mind. And if you've stuck with me and heard me talk about recently the Tratika, which is where you basically gaze at a little dot on the wall without blinking. And so I've been doing that for about 10 minutes a day. And it was that kind of helped me get through the beginning stages of the Ohsawa diet, is because you're constantly bringing your awareness and focus to this point, right? So you're like, oh, I want to blink or I want to look away, and then you're like, refocus instantly. So it's like training the brain and the mind to stay focused on a certain task or a certain goal. And so that was kind of the same concept that I carried over into this diet, this way of eating, is that if I felt like my brain was going to wander somewhere else to wanting just because I wanted to want something, then I just refocus, like, no, this is my goal. This is the diet. This is, 10 days. This is why I'm doing it. Focus on that dot, which this part was the Ohsawa diet. And so I think that that's it's a thing that's needed in our society. Sometimes we get too laser focused, and especially on the wrong things. And then we also go the extreme where we want to let go and we want to follow the flow of the universe. And there has to be a little bit of a balancing point. So I think we go from extreme to extreme, which is good. And then you find that balance point in the middle, which is kind of another reason that I did this, is to help me find that balance between flowing with the universe and my intuition, and then focusing and having that motivation and drive. And I feel like this is a perfect balance between the two. And it's a good reminder for me, and then for all of you, that even if we know something is good for us or that it's going to have benefit, a lot of times we don't do it because there's discomfort or there's resistance, and it's natural for that resistance to be there, right? Anytime we take ourselves out of our routine or our comfort zone or stuff that seems a bit natural or easy, we resist it. If we are doing something that's a bit unknown, we resist it because we don't know what to expect, and so we don't go there. But what if we sat with that resistance and that discomfort, and sat through it and to go through it to see what's on the other side? Because I really think and know from experience, from clients and with myself and just life, that when we experience that, when that resistance, it's a good chance to really step up for yourself and to move forward into it, because that's how we grow and evolve. And our lives are a constant process of evolving and becoming. And if we're not, then we're stagnant. And then with stagnancy comes essentially death, right? So you're just living a life and you're going through the motions. And the whole point of being here is evolution. It's a process of becoming and unfolding and opening, right? And so every time we have to, I look back at the patterns of my life, and every time I've run into some resistance or discomfort, I know for me in that way that it's a sign that, okay, if I move through this, my life will be totally different. Things are going to change. And for some people, that's really scary. And for some people, that's really exciting. And we want it to be exciting because all change is good. It's necessary for our evolution, right? And so we have to practice the concept of non-attachment, if you will, to who we are and where we're going and what's coming next, because we can't always choose, and who we are is always going to be different as we evolve. Of course, the core of who we are and our soul and our heart will be the same, but we are constantly becoming. And so if we get so attached to what we have and who we are in this moment, then of course we're going to have resistance moving into something new, because it may not be us anymore. It may be different. And so we have to be okay in the process of becoming and the process of just not attaching to who we think we are, right? And so that's a whole nother topic. There is a million topics in just those few minutes of what I said. So I hope a few of those points stuck with you, because there's, again, still so many parts that I could pull into this. And I probably will continue to do this through some of my writings coming up and maybe future videos. But it's a really good reminder that if you are feeling stagnant and you know that you're ready for change or something different, then to pay attention to that discomfort and to welcome it and to love it and accept it and hold its hand and move forward through it and with it, right? Because on the other side of that is exactly what your soul is longing for, right? Whether it doesn't matter if you know what that is or what it looks like. It's just if you move through it and you take a challenge for yourself that you know will be beneficial. So I really encourage each of you to very strongly find something that's uncomfortable for you, but that you know would probably be good for you, even if you don't really understand why it's good for you. But if you have an initial, like, yeah, that's probably good for me, then I want you to take that challenge, and I want you to really step forward for yourself. Because when you do that, the universe is going to open up and say, okay, you're ready, and give you more of what you want. And I guarantee that more of what you want is more than you ever could have even dreamed. And so that's also something to really remember, is that we have a very limited scope of what we can see and perceive. And so just the act of moving forward, you're always going to be given something that is greater and more beneficial than you could ever conceive yourself and imagine. So keep that in mind as well. So again, if you see that a lot of my epiphanies and stuff and my experience on this diet is not physical, but when you change your physical biochemistry, which I've done, you change your emotional biochemistry, you change your mental activity, you change your spiritual and your energetic and your connection to the universe, you change all of that. And then also vice versa, when you are evolving spiritually and emotionally and mentally, that's going to affect your physical body. So for me, the physical, I've done so much work on that already, so this was just kind of a last little push that was great, and I had a great experience. And for some of you, the physical might be the best part or the biggest thing you notice, because I think a lot of the layers initially that we have to work through are the physical. That's the first sign. If you have little symptoms, that's your body's call to pay attention to me. There's something here. And the lesson may not be that, oh, you need to change your diet. Like, of course that will help, and that is where we start, because that's what's going to produce change. But the message could be even deeper. It could be a calling from your soul to go this direction, follow this. And it's magic is beneath it. So, yes. I will stop there. You've stuck with me long enough. It's over 12 minutes now of me babbling on, and I could continue for probably another few hours on this. But I hope it was interesting for you to follow my journey, and I really thank you, because me being able to share this with you was also held me accountable, which is also why it's important to have a tribe and a group, because it will keep you moving forward and motivated and held accountable, which is important as we make any new change, right? Because it's easy as we start something new to be like, oh, no, I'm just not going to do it because I'm not too deep into it. I took a few steps forward and it's a little uncomfortable. I'm just going to go back to my comfort zone. That feels good, and I'm going to stay there. So having your tribe and a group and people to hold you accountable and keep you moving forward is really essential, very essential, especially at this moment in time. So again, thank you for sticking with me on this journey, and I might give you one final update after I've officially finished today, which is day 10. So sending you lots of love, and thank you for being here.